What's up, everybody? Coach Mills here, coming at you with a brand new Overwatch video. And in this video, we gotta break down the 5 characters that you should never play or you're trash. No, I'm just kidding. We're gonna be looking at the bottom 5 characters by pick rate for every single rank. First, we're gonna look at all ranks, then we're gonna look at bronze and then grandmaster. And we're gonna talk about why some characters don't see that much play and should you actually play them? Are they underrated or is there a legitimate reason why you should avoid them? We're gonna break all that down in this video. But go to the GameLeap website in the links down below for the highest quality guides that you'll find anywhere. If you want in-depth exclusive content over every single hero in the entire game, do yourself a favor, go check it out in the links down below because we are packed to the brim, full of content that's gonna help you climb the ranks of Overwatch. But without further ado, let's jump into the video. Now let's jump right into the all ranks. Let's jump in and look at what are the bottom 5 characters for pick rate, and then we're gonna talk about it afterwards after I list them. There's Symmetra at a 0.72% pick rate, Sombra at a 0.59% pick rate, Orisa at a 0.58% pick rate, but remember, this is the pick rate over the last month, and Orisa just got a buff, so that might change. Mei at a 0.53% pick rate, and Bastion at a 0.30% pick rate. Now, the problem with looking at this pick rate in isolation is it doesn't really tell us the full story, because some characters are far better at the higher ranks, and some characters are far better at the lower ranks. You gotta understand that a character like Symmetra is way better at the lower ranks than the higher ranks, and her win rate reflects that. I mean, across the board, it's a pretty high win rate, but in the bronze that we're gonna go over in a second, she is not in the bottom 5. Now, a character like Sombra is even worse in the lower ranks. She has a pretty low pick rate in most ranks, but she's actually not in the bottom 5 when we're talking about Grandmaster that we're gonna break down in a second. But as far as my first initial response for this list, I really have an eye on Mei here, and Mei's a character that I think is incredibly underrated. It's a character that isn't the most popular, but she can shut down characters like Wrecking Ball. She can be a nightmare to deal with from a tank's perspective, and really good Meis that can use their icicles well can be viable at basically any rank, and I do think that she does not deserve such a low pick rate, and she actually has a very low pick rate in Grandmaster as well, so we're going to talk about it more when we break down the bronze to Grandmaster comparison right now. Now, moving on to the bronze bottom 5. Let's read them out. First, it's Doomfist with a 1.03% pick rate, Mei with a 0.93% pick rate, Bastion with a 0.84% pick rate, Widow with a 0.84% pick rate, and Sombra with a 0.72% pick rate. Now, at first glance, I'm kind of blown away because Bastion has such a low percent pick rate, even though a lot of people, especially people in the lower ranks, really complain about Bastion. Now, the reason I think that this happens is because people have like almost a near traumatic experience when they go up against a Bastion. They feel like there's nothing they can do, and when they're up against Bastion, it just feels like they instantly lose. And yeah, for a lot of times, that's just the way that it plays out. Now, that being said, it's important to look at the data and realize that Bastion is a really small percentage of the overall bronze meta or low rank meta at all, because there are very few maps that he's going to be viable on. Only on Payload, first of all, is where he's going to be viable, and second of all, Bastion is actually always under threat. There's a lot of characters that can counter him, like Ana, like Roadhog, and you don't really notice that when you're at the opposite end of a Bastion, but a Bastion bunker can crumble just out of nowhere, and especially in the current meta where there's not very much shields going on at all. I mean, we got Sigma nerfs, Reinhardt isn't very good, Wrecking Ball seeing a lot of play. There's nothing to protect a Bastion, so Bastion is in pretty rough shape. But for reference, in the higher ranks in Grandmaster, Bastion is always in a rough shape because once you get to a certain level, Bastion is very easy to counter. Like I said, the list goes on and on about ways to counter Bastion. I even did an in-depth video about how to counter Bastion on this channel, so go check it out if you want to know more, and I promise you'll never lose to a Bastion again. But let's talk about the other characters on this list. First off, Widowmaker. That one makes sense. Requires a high amount of mechanical skill to get a certain value. Widowmaker has a very low pick rate in all the lower ranks, especially in bronze, because very difficult character to play, and until you get to the upper tiers of mechanical skill, you're not going to be bringing more value than a lot of other options. Now, Sombra's another one that is very low because a lot of people, one, don't know how to play Sombra correctly. They use their translocator way too far away most of the time, completely get themselves away from the fight, and basically pick off themselves. And of course, the lack of coordination means that you're never going to get follow-up with EMPs and hacked targets, so it makes sense that Sombra's so low in bronze. Now, the really interesting one here to me is Doomfist. I'm not entirely sure why Doomfist is picked so little, in the lower ranks, because honestly, he's freaking free wins. I know it can be pretty daunting to play Doomfist. Sometimes he's going everywhere, right? You're flying around, there's complex mechanics, you have to learn all these random things that you don't have to learn on other characters. But Doomfist is a character that when you are talking about the lower ranks, bronze, silver, gold, even plat, sometimes even diamond, players just don't have enough awareness to stop just the basic cycles of Doomfist. Use one set of ability to go in, use the other set to get out. It's either Seismic Slam, Uppercut, Glide Punch away, or it's fall off a target, punch them into a wall, and then uppercut, Seismic Slam away. Either way, you're getting a kill and you're getting out, and unless the enemy team has coordination, has foresight, has even awareness, they're not going to be able to stop you at all. And I really do think that Doomfist is incredibly underrated, especially at the lower ranks. And in the higher ranks, I understand he can struggle, of course, because he's not really good in the meta right now, but that doesn't matter in the lower ranks. Doomfist should be seeing a lot more play. And maybe if you're struggling in bronze or silver, look up one of our Doomfist guides or go to the Game Leap website, pick up Doomfist, and it's really easy to climb out of bronze and silver with Doomfist. Just Doom abuse. Trust me, the supports are gonna hate you, but you're gonna have a great time. Now let's move on to the Grandmaster pick rate, and then we're going to talk about the differences between the Bronze and the Grandmaster, and then the all ranks, of course. So first we got Symmetra at 0.42%, we got Mora at 0.35%, Bastion at 0.27%, Reaper at 0.24%, but remember, Reaper got a pretty big buff, so that's something that's important for us to realize. He's probably going to see an uptick in pick rate as well. And then we got Mei at the bottom of the barrel at 0.22%. Now, first off, let's talk about Symmetra, who wasn't apparent in Bronze, but is in Grandmaster. Now, Symmetra's a character that can absolutely thrive in any rank. I've seen it firsthand, one-tricking Symmetra's climb all the way to Grandmaster, but I do know that Symmetra is struggling currently in this meta. Symmetra really thrives when there's a lot of shields being played, and right now, when it's a lot of Zarya, Wrecking Ball, I could see why Symmetra is taking a back seat, especially in Grandmaster, where they play the meta a lot more. Now, the next character in this list is actually Mora, and Mora, of course, is a character that benefits a lot from being self-sufficient, right? She gets a lot of value for two reasons. The first one is she has a form of get out of jail free card, right? She has that form of mobility that can get her out from being dove. When there's no peel, no coordination, you can play Mora and you can survive, and you can pump out tons and tons of heals. So even if you have other healer that is just, you know, jerking off in the corner doing I don't know what, and they're not helping your team, you can sustain your team yourself. So for those two reasons, Mora is an amazing support for the lower ranks. But when you get to the higher ranks, when you got peel, when you have everyone doing their job to a certain level, you don't want the utility of Mora, because that doesn't bring enough value even if you're doing everything correctly. You're already getting the peel, you're already getting a certain amount of damage output and space creation and things like that. You just want a maxed out utility aspect, right? You want the maxed out impact from your abilities, and right now that's definitely Zen and Brig. Those are going to be way better than a character like Mora, so definitely keep that in mind. This has to do with the impact ceiling. Mora's is a lot lower, but of course her impact floor is automatically way higher. I mean, try to play Zen in freaking Bronze, try to play Zen in freaking Plat, it's not going to work out for you. Mora's going to be so much better in that environment, and is probably just like one of the best supports in that environment. But you take that same character and you apply it to Grandmaster, you just aren't going to be bringing enough to the table, even if you're playing Mora flawlessly. So that's just a really important concept for you to understand. Now, I wanted to really quickly readdress Mei, because Mei's also very low in Grandmaster, and I think it's unfortunate because in my personal opinion, Mei is very underrated. Now, I know why she doesn't see as much play. When there's a lot less Rhynes trying to push through a choke point, Mei can't get as much value in general. But another reason that Mei is low, in my personal opinion, is that Mei has always been low. Mei's always had a lower pick rate than a lot of other DPS in the game, and I really think it has to do with the fact that Mei is far less mechanical than every other character. She almost plays like a tank in the DPS role, and she really rewards you for game knowledge rather than mechanical skill. Now, I know that the last time Mei was meta, it was in the double shield meta, so I hope with these Orisa buffs, we don't get the Mei Shelly, Sigma, Orisa, Baptiste, double shield meta back. That would be absolutely terrible. But I would love it if some people started picking up Mei more and used Mei more, because I do think that she has a lot of potential. But I understand that hit scans are freaking overpowered right now. So she's just being held down, unfortunately. She can't really compete with like a long distance Widow or like a long distance Ashe in the way that like a Hanzo could as a projectile kind of replacement. But really, hit scans are freaking nuts right now. So I get why she's low, even though I do think that there's a place for her, especially on those maps where you can really abuse those choke points with your wall, like Hanamura defense, for example. Anyways, all in all, definitely let me know what you think about these bottom tier characters. Do you think some of these characters are actually much better than their pick rate suggests? Or do you think that there's a legitimate reason that they're all bottom of the barrel for their respective ranks? I want to know your opinion about all that in the comments down below. And then go to the Game Leap website in the links down below for in-depth advanced guides over all these characters, actually every character in the entire game. It's never been a better time to climb the ranks of Overwatch right now, so go check it out. But thank you so much for coming by. Hope you enjoyed the video. That's all I got for you today. I'm Coach Mills. Until next time.